This presentation is about using Facebook to teach digital and standard EFL writing skills. This work was done by César Cristancho, Rocío Oviedo, and Julian Pérez, students from the Universidad Industrial de Santander in the subject held in 2013. Classroom research directed by Professor Raúl García. For this research, we chose some participants that studied at Damaso Zapata High School in the Section C. They were 21 students from 10th grade. Their ages were between 15 and 17 and their English level was A1. They had 2 hours of English class per week. In this research, a problem was found. There was a low level informal written production, and there was no use of informal English on Facebook as a means of communication among students. From this problem, we have 3 questions. So, how does the use of Facebook help in the process of students writing? Is the use of digital English a good influence in the development of autonomy, or is it just a distractor? Does the use of digital English has an effect on formal writing skills? To answer these questions, we bore in mind 3 main concepts for the theoretical framework. The first concept is digital English, supported by Cope and Colonsis 2009 and Crystal 2006. They stand for the new language used for interacting in social networks that cooperate with an effective communication and favor the economy of language. This new lingo is called digital English, e-speaking or net speaking. This has some characteristics of the spoken language: typos, word shortenings, omission of grammatical patterns, and use of emoticons to replace emotions, hand gestures, and body language. The other concept treated here was supported by Bartlett, Bragg 2006, and Kaplan 2010, and they stated that Facebook has been the most used social network for interaction among people from all over the world, and it is used to communicate, learn, and teach. And the third concept is EFL context, supported by Cox and Cox 2008 and Gradle 2006, that stated that new technologies are potential pedagogical tools that should be used for helping teaching learning processes and not as magic tools for replacing teachers. For collecting data, we used a MIS method according to Dorney 2007, which is about having qualitative and quantitative methods together and complementary. In this case, the most predominant one was qualitative data that was about observations, short texts by students, and final focus interviews. And we had some quantitative data that was a questionnaire called Mundo Digital. For the methodology, we taught 5 formal English classes with some specific topics such as daily routines in present and past, likes and dislikes, and so on. This was because the participants didn't have good basis in English. Then we could proceed with English digital classes with the same topics of the previous classes and some others that I show next. Then we had students do writing activities on Facebook group that we called finger speech. So here are some topics: creating some farewells. So we have Spanish, English, and abbreviation. For instance, ¿Cómo estás? How are you? And H are you? So we have some common expressions. For instance, in Spanish we say cada uno, and we say in English everyone, and in abbreviation we just say every and the number 1. There are some more common expressions that we use for teaching this digital English, like hablamos más tarde, talk to you later, and TTYL. I like or don't like, and this was for the section likes and dislikes. In English we say swimming, the abbreviation was swimming, and in Spanish is nadar. Teen favorite acronyms, and this was chosen because in the social media this appeared. For instance, LOL means laugh out loud, and it says reírse a carcajadas. For data analysis, we just take into account two methods: statistical analysis for quantitative method and principles of grounded theory, Glaser and Ansel Strauss for the qualitative analysis. And it says that grounded theory method is a systematic methodology in the social sciences involving the discovery of the theory through the analysis of data. For the quantitative analysis, so we have these results, and we have the central tendency and the mean with the 85%, the mode just we had the 100%, the median 88%. So it says that it is a good result. Range 38%, and the standard deviation we have 14%. So we can see over here that there were a lot of good results taking into account the quantitative analysis. So the results for some other criteria that we designed was homophones 100%, word shortening 88%, sound based spelling 63%, clipping 75%, and use of symbols 100%. For the qualitative analysis, we have the same criteria, but with a Likert scale. So if it is bad, we say that needs improvement. If it is good, we say is good, but use it most of the time as expected and some not as expected, and very good and excellent. These categories were taken from theory. So making a bond with similar sounds are homophones, reduction by the assumption, word shortening, changing grapheme but phonemes, sound-based spelling, and clipping and ticking, symbols and twinkles. Next we are going to explain what it is about each one. Making a bond with similar sounds, homophones. It is about replacing words by others with a similar sound. For example, the preposition to can be replaced by the number to, and so on. As we see over here, later had breakfast, after went to school, go to school and study for 6 hours. The problem is that we have to work a lot on phonetics since they are not bilingual to recognize the homophones. So the other category is reduction by the assumption, that is word shortening. It is about shrinking words to favor the economy of language, but they should be legible and clear. The problem is when non-conventional reductions by the assumption appear, like this one. At 5:45 a.m. I read the newspaper instead of saying newspaper. So it is a change that is non-conventional. So the conventional, it will be on Saturday or on Saturday I wake up at 5 a.m. and I met my fam. On the other example we have I met my girl and my fam on Saturday, instead of saying I met my girl and my family on Saturday. So the next one is changing graphemes but not phonemes. As words sound, you transform the spelling and you write the graphemes differently and accordingly, but there is no change phonetically. For example, I take a shower and get dressed at 4:15 and I enter the school at 6:15. The problem is that they didn't have a lot of listening opportunities because they are not bilingual. So the next one is clipping and ticking, and it's about reducing the last letter of a word. As in the ing form, we drop the g. For instance, I like using cell phone, I like watching television, I like eating choco, and dislike playing guitar, dislike flying a kite, and dislike studying for a test. But the problem is that there are non-conventional changes. For instance, yesterday I played soccer instead of saying yesterday I played soccer. The next one is symbols and twinkles. This means that body language, paralinguistic features, and feelings are transformed into emoticons. Here we have a little piece of conversation in digital English of students as a sample. You can see there is an interaction from student 1 to student 2. So, hi, how are you? Yes, I'm okay. Age, sex, and location. 17, female, school. Got a boyfriend? No. And you? No boyfriend, no girlfriend. So let's meet in real life. Yes, where? Sorry, gotta go. Paris, watching. So some conclusions are drawn from this research. The results show that Facebook can be a good tool for EFL or ESL teachers and students. It provides a great coverage for several learning types and environment, helping lower the affective filter. Moreover, students understood that the writing form Facebook is only a way of effective communication on social networks. Students also felt motivated by using Facebook to do their homework and comment their partners' publications. However, we should bear in mind there are a lot of distractors on this network, such as chats and games. Another important finding is the accurate use of social networks fosters changes of teachers and students' perspectives regarding teaching and learning processes. Furthermore, we observed that students could have an effective communication by using digital English. Regarding the writing process, we can state students improved by autonomous work. And learning digital English helps students differentiate formal from informal writing in English, and they did better in both ways. And we have some recommendations here to you. We suggest you to do more studies on the use of Facebook and try to influence teachers and students with the implementation of social networks in class. And we recommend to use Facebook as a mediating tool for effective teaching and learning. And thank you.